first.
Well, we can do Highlander first.
That way we get into our flow, and then we think about questions.
Yeah, first episode, strong episode.
You don't think it's a good idea to start a whole brand new project completely cold? And
Oh no, yeah, totally. I mean, that's how Tarantino does it. I'm pretty sure it's a shot, and then he literally shoots someone, and then he starts a movie.
I know this is going to be a problem, so
good call. As it slowly lingers. You know what that reminded me of? It's
going to be a thing with our episodes.
That one's been ruled pretty.
They're all going to have Ben throwing his cheese in.
Well, have either of you guys watched SpongeBob? That scene where that octopus is slowly falling down the wall. Yeah. Where it's that's exactly what I imagined happened to your keys, and they're just sticking to my couch. Just.
I never saw that because I'm old.
We were joking about John's age earlier, ladies and gentlemen, and he will never let it go anymore.
Yes, I am 50.
John, secretly 50. Secretly beyond middle age.
I'm past over the hill. I'm literally the hill.
No,
I am the bell curve.
50 is called the mountain, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard it's called the mountain. It's 50 or 60, depending.
That sounds like it was
depending if you smoke in your lifespan, but it's.
That makes sense.
That strikes me as a nickname that was come up for an age by a person who was 50.
Right.
Of course it was.
The mountain.
Well, you're trying to make it sound more impressive because you didn't actually climb Everest in your early 40s, so now you're like, damn it, I'm never going to get to do that. I'm calling 50 the mountain so I don't have to sound so depressed about my life.
Check this off my bucket list. It's just literally a list of buckets. Because this person is boring.
Well, that was a joke for a long period of time on the internet. Was the bucket list is how many things have you drank or eaten out of a bucket? Or it's have you ever had that place that serves beer in buckets? No, that's a thing to put on your bucket
we should
list.
specify. Is it beer bottles in buckets or beer?
No. It is literally beer from a bucket.
Okay, then no.
I haven't done. Why would you do that to yourself? It's probably.
I've had fish
It's
bowls.
probably.
I've had what's called fish bowls before, which is
it literally a fish bowl.
It was literally in a fish bowl, and it was 5 different types of alcohol, just all mixed in with blue Curacao, so it looks like water.
Illegal.
Oh, it's super
not. It's like the drink from Wayne's World.
I haven't seen.
You know this. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a college bar who the health inspector visits maybe once in a blue moon, and they're like, "Whatever, serve it in a fish bowl."
Yeah, you nailed that entirely.
Like really?
Yeah, no, that's exactly
that sounds like a shitty college bar.
It was the same bar that got nailed for They replaced all their top shelf liquor with well liquor.
Yeah, this sounds like the kind of place. You say that, and I'm like, yeah, of course that would happen there.
I'm just gonna say that the most times that I've had alcoholic beverages served to me in buckets or being related to buckets is Applebee's.
Oh yeah.
Applebee's is really big on the whole bucket of little Budweisers, or also they
because it makes it more impressive. I think
they've also got the Malibu bucket. Drink
yeah.
That
I think the idea is it makes it look more impressive than Applebee's impressive, where it's we can just shove thing in an ice bucket and call it classy.
I want to coin Applebee's impressive.
Yeah, Applebee's impressive.
That's Applebee's.
The Trump administration, Applebee's impressive. It's just slightly above bar, but even then, it's not good enough for what you're actually consuming.
No, Applebee's impressive is synonymous. You did the thing.
You did slightly better than the thing. It passed the test. Moderately. You didn't trip on the bar that's on the floor.
It passed the test. I did not go blind.
Oh god.
Oh god. It's like the gin that's 50%, where you're I survived. It tasted like ass, but I can still see.
So I'm from the Midwest, right? And the notion of bar specials, hey, we have $7 beer buckets.
Yeah.
And in that case, it was buckets of ice that had beer in it,
totally. Yeah.
And it's one of those, I came to Washington, it's our specials that our beer's fucking good, and you're gonna pay $10 a beer,
and you're gonna be out all your money.
Fucking like it, then.
Which is really funny because I've been drinking since January, and it's really funny to notice how much my income has increased. Where I'm how much money was I spending? I wasn't even buying that much booze, but it's one of those things where around here it's so expensive. Where it's one beer is $8.
The amount of money you save, the amount of weight you probably lost.
Oh no, I'm down to 165 just by exercise and not having alcohol in my system anymore. I'm I feel great.
I will say after Hi-Fi closed, I started having a surplus of money.
You know, I'm really happy I still have one of their glasses that they just gave me because now I have like a relic from them.
If you want a coaster from them too, I've got like a
I have a bunch.
I have 100 coasters.
Side note, ladies and gentlemen, our once favorite place that used to hold us is now gone.
Oh, we talk about this every episode.
I'm still upset about
that. We used to be part of Hi-Fi. Now we're no longer part of
Now
Hi-Fi.
We're just recording
coming at you live from Andrew's apartment.
I feel like we should actually get to the episode. Or John's going to have a lot of audio to cut.
I'm going to leave most of this in. The episode will probably start with the sound of Ben's keys jingling.
Oh, no, it should start with the sound of Ben's keys jingling because then you can make the octopus crawling down the wall joke still relevant. That's still a funny gif.
Does it count as a callback if we call it back to like 5 minutes ago?
Yes, it's still technically you calling back to a joke.
It's just bad comedic timing. It's like
it's shit comedic timing.
It's Applebee's impressive.
It's what it's like. Do you remember the time I told a joke? That was fun. I'm gonna say that same joke again, but in a different context.
See, I'll just be over here.
That cuts me deep.
I'll just be over here not doing research and coining phrases for the show, like Applebee's impression. I am accidentally the viral marketer of Agree to Disagree, everybody.
Right.
I was telling John the other day how I had my headphones on, and when you have your headphones on, you can actually hear your voice as it sounds, not as it comes in your head.
Really? I've never done that before.
No, it's if you actually have like full on
cool. I do. I've got a pair of Soul Republics.
You get to hear how you sound to other people.
Oh, I'm gonna sound like a nasally asshole.
No, I sat there. I was like, I'm Michael Scott with Larry the Cable Guy. Like it's just not a good. It's not a good mix.
I mean, John was joking about in the original seasons of this, like where I was talking about how I sound on listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
And John was like, "Oh, you'll get over it eventually." I sound like a burned out surfer dude, but now I'm okay with it.
I mean, it's true. Doesn't help that I also use words like "dude" constantly.
Yeah. I mean, you're not.
It is who I am.
It's who I am, Mom.
Oh, get off my nuts. Trying to eat Doritos and hang with my friends.
Do we have show notes?
Also, I need more Mountain Dew.
For those who are not here while we're recording and for some reason listening to this show.
I don't know anymore.
Go on.
Well, I'll get to this in a second. Let's start the show.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm John.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Ben.
This is Agree to Disagree.
Ben is no longer the guest star. He is just officially the third co-host now.
Has that not been the case the entire time?
No, it's not. Well,
wow.
Stefan and Caleb both used to have it rotating. We're yelling into the mic because do you want another beer?
I mean, that's true, but now I feel like I had it on my resume and I have to take it back off.
Wait, did you actually?
No, because I want to get a job.
Entirely fair.
Who's going to hire you for this schlock?
I mean, really. Then again, I mean, Roger Corman made his entire career off schlock, so it's not as if you can't do that.
Speaking of which, everybody, big news today. I saw that Neil Breen has finished editing his movie. His 6th theatrical installment.
You can't see my face, audience, but it's just mouth agape, super fucking happy. Oh my god, I get to watch more garbage.
What's a Neil Breen?
Okay, so I'm going to give a quick rundown because we don't want to be here all day.
Yeah.
Neil Breen is Tommy Wiseau if he got hit in the head more times with a sledgehammer and also was convinced that the entire world was plotting against him in a giant conspiracy theory. And he made and produced movies where he was the star who was a hero fighting against aforementioned conspiracy theories.
Got it. So in my head, I heard the fusion dance between Tommy Wiseau, Gary Busey, and Ted Nugent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
Except not right wing, just crazy.
Noted.
And like crazy to the point where he thinks he's like the smartest, most strong, and sexy person in the world.
And he is objectively a very ugly, lanky man who does not know how to write, direct, or score films.
Who is the Democrat who always protests? Not Michael Myers.
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore.
But Michael Moore makes documentaries that are occasionally very inaccurate. Neil Breen just Like, I would have to actually go through probably a pound of crack cocaine to get exactly about where he's at.
Christ.
And the thing is, his movies are objectively the most entertaining, worst films I think I've ever seen, where it's such a mindfuck of what is going on, why is this happening, why are we in Vegas, how does your rock cure cancer, why are you invisible now, what the fuck is a force field doing here, and how is that man dead? Like, there are so many questions that it's kind of amazing.
Got it. Highlander.
Yes.
Well,
the actual point to be here.
What was I going to say before we started the show?
I don't know. You brought up something about Neil Breen, and then I went off topic because Neil Breen's amazing.
Oh, fuck it. Anyway.
Whatever.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Highlander.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the Highlander. Well, it's not the Highlander, it's Highlander.
Which is another movie that Ben has never seen.
Yes, and I actually didn't know this, which I should have known this, but it was produced by Cannon Films.
Yeah, it's actually one of the really good Cannon films.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Cannon is notoriously
you mean
known
Ben.
Well, there might be people listening.
Wow. You might exist.
Maybe.
So Cannon Films is a production company that is notorious for making super schlocky, low-budget films because their core principle was quantity over quality. No idea was left behind.
They were a duo of an Israeli director and his cousin, who was the producer, who were really famous in Israel for actually making very not very good movies, but definitely movies because that was back in the day when global films weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
So they were good for making regional films that were kind of, I'm thinking of the word, they went against the zeitgeist of Israel at the time.
Sure.
So they made like American Pie kind of stuff where it went against the grain and actually did really well money-wise, and it was really interesting. And then they came to the US to find their fortune, and they just cranked out movies. Like, they're famous for producing God knows how many movies over the course of like a decade.
Mm-hmm.
They made some really bad stuff. They're famous for making Chuck Norris famous. Jean-Claude Van Damme got his career through it. Like that, I mean, that's pretty much the end of it, is they made schlocky ass movies in the 80s and 90s, and they didn't stop, and they have a huge collection, and they also burned out really fast and lost all of their money.
Can I just give a kudos for throwing in zeitgeist?
Oh, thank
actual
you.
Conversation.
Thank you.
And I think you used it properly.
I did.
Yeah, no, that was exactly correct. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like someone was in debate. I understand.
For those of you keeping score at home, that's 1 point for Andrew.
Are you doing the tennis voice too to add to it? Match point.
Okay, so Highlander.
Yes.
1986 movie.
86? Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Starring Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery,
I think it's Lambert.
and probably, but I always call him Lambert.
Sure.
Like Bert Nerdy. Anyway.
Who, side note, was Raiden in Mortal Kombat.
No,
Yes, which is why we're watching it.
Exactly.
So Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery, or Sean Connery for the disturbing,
I think for the disturbed.
Roxanne Hart, and Clancy Brown.
Okay, sure.
Like, those are the four main characters, main stars of the movie. You have Christopher Lambert, who's playing as the Highlander, the main protagonist.
Connor McLeod.
Connor McLeod.
McLeod.
Of the McLeod clan.
The McLeod clan.
Sean Connery, who plays as a Spanish-Egyptian immortal fucking whatever.
Who still does a Scottish accent and owns a sword from Japan.
Yes.
Yes.
Roxanne Hart, who plays
sense
a
later.
modern-day forensic pathologist, who is the leading lady of this film.
Yep.
She is studying a series of mysterious murders that have been happening around New York City, where people's heads have been getting sliced off.
1986 modern day?
Yeah,
Or
yes.
2008?
1986 modern day.
It's the future. 1986.
It was. We don't talk about Highlander 2: The Quickening.
We're going to get to that.
No, stop.
No, stop. We're
Well,
gonna no. This is important. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I was confused by the modern day. Where it's like, it was what, modern day investigator, modern day crime
It was
scene
modern
analyst?
days and present day, because the movie actually spends a lot of
No,
time.
was her title? Was her role the modern
forensic pathologist?
Got it. So it was back in the 1980s. Like, yeah, it looks like a footprint.
Maybe.
That's an oval in the sand.
I mean,
It's
person
whatever.
appears to be missing their head.
I was gonna say, when all of your murder victims have been decapitated, I think you can call that a serial killer.
Got it.
Okay, and Clancy Brown plays as the main villain, the big baddie.
The Kurgan!
The Kurgan.
Ah, I love him.
He comes from another clan from around the time of MacLeod, and maybe even before that. And his whole thing is he just wants to murder. He wants to kill everything.
Pretty much.
Cool.
And it also helps that he's got a voice that's like this, and it sounds really.
He sounds
like sound great in the microphone.
Well, he sounds like that '90s ad of the woman smoking through her throat.
Oh yeah.
He sounds like that.
I forgot about that.
You're welcome.
I wonder if she's still alive.
No.
Damn. Okay, so post-Reagan era PSAs were hardcore for a while.
They were, yeah. There was some scary shit.
Anyway.
Can we do a bit of just like analyzing the commercial with the frying pan and the egg?
Oh my god, please. Can we do a deep dive on like weird
hour and a
commercials?
half.
Only if we follow it up with the ad that the same lady made years later.
I mean,
more recently.
Channel Awesome sunk itself recently. Someone's got to be in the realm of advertisement analysis, right?
No.
Nostalgia critic.
We just got to find the niche.
I'm not about to bash other people's failures right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking of failures,
we don't do great.
This movie cost $19 million to make.
That's a lot for Canon.
For 1986?
Yeah.
Shit, that's a lot for Canon too.
How much do you think worldwide this movie grossed?
It's gotta be low. 5 million?
Ooh, I yawned when I said that.
Entirely fair.
Let's say 8.
Now, you guys both lowballed it. It was $12.9 million.
Wow.
Still, when you lose $3 million, it's like, oh.
Didn't you say 19?
Yeah.
7 million.
Sorry, yeah.
Wow.
Whew.
Yeah. And what's even more impressive about this being a total box office failure was that it spawned a whole bunch of shit after that, which Andrew didn't want me to get into, but I'm going to just go down the list right now.
It's like 5 sequels?
So you got Highlander, Highlander 2, The Quickening, Highlander 3, The Sorcerer, Highlander Endgame, Highlander The Search for Vengeance, Highlander The Source, the Highlander television series, plus a second television series later on, Highlander The Raven.
Yep.
Highlander the animated series.
Yep.
There was a bunch of novelizations. Highlander the Element of Fire, Highlander Scimitar, Scotland the Brave, Measure of a Man, The Path, Zealot, Shadow of Obsession, The Captive Soul, White Silence, and Evening at Joe's.
Shut up.
And a comic book series. Actually, 2 of them, Highlander and Way of the Sword. And it also spawned a card game. Yes. As well as 3 video games.
Holy shit. I didn't realize it was that long of a list.
How do we not know about these video games?
They're really bad. I've seen a couple of them.
Well, let's put it this way. The first one was 1986.
Okay.
So...
probably Atari.
Either late era Atari or it was NES.
I know one was on the Atari Jaguar, which was the animated series one.
So there was also Highlander, The Last of the McClouds. That was in 95.
That was the Atari one.
And, well, actually, Highlander the game was canceled. So that one technically never came out.
Okay, fair enough.
So, I'm sorry, only 2.5.
I had this connection that Highlander was the inspiration for Star Fox because of Fox McCloud.
No. But they did take the name probably. I will say damn, how to put this? I would be interested to see what its number, because I bet you that number was probably the box office. That was probably the box office poll. I wonder what the home video market was.
Oh, that's where this movie flourished.
I was going to say, because Canon did amazing on the home video racket.
Well, and also, to put it in perspective, the sequel for Highlander came out in 1991. So it took 5 years for them to do a sequel. In that time, it probably developed a huge fan following. Because, yeah, like you said, Canon was really big in the home video scene.
Yeah, that's where they got all their money.
I mean, it was also distributed in the United States by 20th Century Fox.
Ooh,
so that shit was on TV constantly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Side note, other Canon film that was super famous that you wouldn't expect, Superman 4 was made by them.
I know.
Yeah, Superman 4.
It's a terrible movie.
It is a very bad movie.
It's like, you know how you occasionally see footage of like Turkish Batman and stuff like that?
It looks like that.
It's like that.
Yeah. There's a guy called Nuclear Man who just extends his fingernails and then like scratches Superman and like that's the guy. It's real bad.
Mm-hmm. Take that, Superman. Have a radioactive cat scratch.
Oh my god. It's not even as ridiculous as some of the villains from the comics.
So, Andrew, let's go. Well, Ben, do you know anything about the plot of
Legitimately nothing.
Okay. Andrew, I would like for you to do a good summary of this movie to the best of your memory.
So, Highlander, The setup is stated at the beginning by an introduction by Sean Connery. Basically, there are a bunch of people who have existed since time immemorial amongst the human race known as immortals. They are people who have lived either in the shadows or in the spotlight. Typically, they're beings who have existed for the entire time that mankind has been around.
Sure.
And they don't know why.
Okay.
None of them have an explanation to their immortality. And that's actually a very key part of this. However, they do realize that there is only one way for them to die. And that is by being decapitated. When you decapitate another immortal as an immortal, you experience what is known as a quickening, and you absorb their power, their memories, and their abilities, all in one shockwave of energy that you receive at once.
Okay.
The main plot of Highlander is a thing known as the Gathering happens, which is at the end of this tournament, which is like the worldwide tournament that is all of these immortals trying to murder each other.
Right.
At the end of this, there is a thing known as the Gathering, where all of the immortals are basically expected to arrive at this one singular place where all of them will fight to the death until there is only one left standing, which is the famous tagline, John.
There can be only one.
That's where that comes from?
Yes. The final one standing then receives something that is completely unexplained, which is the MacGuffin of the movie known as the prize.
Okay.
Which is combined with the combined knowledge of all immortals in one single quickening. The receiver of the prize then is the last remaining immortal.
Well, that and they gain mortality.
Yeah.
They gain more talent.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also gain all of the combined knowledge, abilities, and memories of every single immortal and the ability to wield it. Essentially omnipotence.
Sure.
And it comes down to Connor McLeod, who is the eponymous Highlander, and the Kurgan, who is John almost got this right earlier, is an ancient Neanderthal from the year 700 BC from the Russian highlands in Siberia, who was the last survivor of his tribe, who fought his way out and is the scariest man on the face of the planet.
Oh.
Yeah.
This movie sounds super cool.
Yeah, right? The setup's really awesome.
And we didn't even mention the fact that a big chunk of the soundtrack is done by Queen.
Oh, most of the soundtrack is done by Queen.
Yeah.
Between this and the Flash Gordon movie, those are the two movies that Queen did all of the soundtrack to. And if you watch any movie just for the ridiculous 80s-ness of it all, watch the Flash Gordon movie. It's so good. It's so dumb and cheesy and has Brian Blessed yelling things to Queen, and it's so great.
Flash!
That's so good.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that was some good harmony right there, guys.
We could have done worse.
I just want to see the waveform on that.
Yeah, I would love to see the visualizer just explode.
Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into it.
I don't want to have to explain it anymore either, because it kind of ruins the movie at that point. Just know that Sean Connery shows up at some point.
Sean Connery shows up. There's a lot of back and forth. Not time travel, but flashbacks to previous eras of human history.
Oh yeah, well, because they have to explain. Because keep in mind, Connor's been around for 600 years.
Sure.
And that's actually one of the opening lines of the film. Or one of the more famous lines from the film, which is I've been alive for 600 years and I am immortal. And the story is a giant series of flashbacks from The Gathering, which is happening in New York City, and to his original life when he first learned that he was immortal, because you have to die at least one time to learn you're immortal. And so it's Connor's story of his immortality activating and his story with his tribe and then his wife and then what have you. And it goes from there. There's a ton of flashbacks and there's a deep history between him and the Kurgan rather than just being two guys who need to fight. There's a blood feud there that's been around for 7 centuries.
I don't know. Just based on that description, I just kind of wanted to have no history. I just want two people fighting each other for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
and
fair
that
enough.
also be super great to me.
Yeah, either or really, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie, and I'm really excited for Ben to watch it.
Yeah, when we have time to watch it.
It's a short film. It's 90 minutes.
Is it only that short?
So Canon Films was also famously efficient.
Yeah.
As in, we put what's on screen that needs to be on screen and then get everything off screen.
This is true.
Cut.
Anything where it says runtime, hour 20 or above, it's yeah, fuck it. No, just I'll cliff notes it. It's fine. I don't care after 2 hours. You haven't.
Oh, you mean 120? You mean 120?
120 minutes, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's fair. You said an hour 20. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh,
that's like
bad.
80 minutes, dude.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm
His favorite
super
movie is the
impatient.
90s Judge Dredd.
Can we get Ben to watch the new Dredd at some point? Because I fucking love that movie. You get to watch Carl Urban shoot a flare into a dude's mouth.
I mean, it would be you showing both of us, because I
really?
never
Wait,
saw Dredd.
what? I love the new Dredd. It's actually one of my...
Everything I know, there's this blank spot in my history where I just stopped seeing movies for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was towards the tail end of it.
I literally wrote my final paper in an English class about science fiction on the new Dredd, and it's like effectiveness of using cinematographic stuff to be able to explain its world without actually having to explain its world. It's very Blade Runner-y, where it's like you just see everything and you piece together very fast as an audience member, oh, this is what this universe is like.
Oh,
okay.
God. See, my final English paper was deconstructing professional wrestling.
Hey, wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No,
That actually sounds really interesting.
No, it was a fascinating paper.
Huh.
Yeah, it's also one of the things where I ended. It's like, oh yeah, the owner just decides to book whatever he wants and fuck every audience opinion on what it should be. Okay, cool, great.
Hey, Roman Reigns. Hey, Roman Reigns.
Hey, I'm getting a phone call. I'm supposed to. Oh, you want me to fuck myself? Okay,
okay.
My bad.
Cool.
I was gonna enjoy the show, but just fuck my. Okay, cool. Got it. Fuck myself.
Thanks, Vince.
I was told to. Yeah.
Thanks, Vince. John, what was your final paper on it? God, now that we're on this, man.
My very final paper, and this will surprise no one, was about the effectiveness of using games as educational tools.
Oh, cool. That actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Very extra creditsy.
Yeah.
John is kind of the extra credits dude of the bunch.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. It's between you and Ben of like being able to see deeper in the realities of the stuff that
I'm not a designer or shit though, like because James Portnow, the writer of Extra Credits, is a designer. He used to teach at the school I go to now, but yeah, no, it's one of those like I don't give a fuck about game design, and the capacity is like I don't study it. It's not my thing. Like I just I program a thing I'm told to program, and that's it.
I hammer out code. What do you want from me?
Yeah,
you want nails?
I am Code Monkey.
I'll give you code. Give me money. Like that's pretty much it.
I kind of don't want to explain anymore because I just really want to see Ben's reaction to this film now.
To Highlander?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, like I just want to sit down and watch and be like, enjoy this crazy
It's
thing
almost like that's
John
what's
and I
going to happen after this is done recording.
It's like that's the point of the show.
Ben, don't try to end it. Don't try to end it.
I'm not trying to end it. I suck at this.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
Highlander.
God, bail! Leave now. Just cut it.
That's the ending.